Friday morning's OTB AM. You're very welcome along to OTB AM this Friday morning. Delighted to have you with us. Get your comments into us. We have a packed studio and a packed show for you this morning as well. We're going to be joined in studio a little bit later on by Republic of Ireland and Reading defender Paul McShane. And plenty to discuss with Paul, so get your questions in. For him it's going to be a bit of a ginger overload, but for the minute balancing things out first, Alan Quinlan, good morning to you.
Morning Adrian, how are you? Morning Eoin.
I'm not sure the gingerness, I'm not sure how it's all going to go. I mean, I don't think it's ever been tried before to put three gingers on camera at the one time.
You're more of a strawberry man, to be honest.
Look good.
Yeah, there was a point in my life I was a bit more ginger on, but you're like, this is age, Quinny, you know yourself. This is what happens.
No grey hairs anyway.
There's a few creeping in there. Working with you every Friday is sort of putting a bit of heat on me. All well?
Very good, thanks.
Bags packed?
Bags packed for next week, yeah. I'm going to Australia, looking forward to it.
Good stuff.
Great opportunity to finish off a brilliant year for Ireland. For Irish Rugby.
Yeah.
Leinster, their success, but Ireland as well, Grand Slam, and there's a good opportunity there. I'm sure Michael Checkett will be...
Lots of the Aussies would love better than sort of...
hands.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but obviously Joey Carbery was the thing we wanted to get into straight off the top of the show. So if you do have comments about this or thoughts, get them into us here. We'll be talking to Quinny about this for the next few minutes. So, he signed for Munster. Probably not a great surprise in the end. How's this going to go down in the Munster dressing room?
They'll be very pleased, I think. Obviously, the fly halves may not be so pleased. They might not be putting out the red carpet for him. JJ Hanran, Ian Keatley and Tyler Blaindell. But look, he's a quality player. I think it's a great signing for Munster. It's been speculated over the last number of weeks that it was going to happen. I think it's down to the player ultimately himself. Now, I know, has he been nudged that way? We know it started with Ulster having no fly half with the Paddy Jackson situation. I think the timing, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, wasn't great, and Joe Schmidt admits that, but the question had to be asked of Leinster and of the players. Were either of them interested, Ross Byrne or Joey Carbery, in moving? Because and that came from Ulster, because literally they have no fly half, and they wanted to sign a fly half, an overseas player, and there's obviously a bit of an overload in Munster and an overload in Leinster, and can they take one of those? And obviously the preference was Carbery or Ross Byrne to go to Ulster. So that question had to be asked, because David Nucifora has to grant permission if you want to go overseas, and that's how the conversation started. I think from a practical point of view, to have your number two fly half not really playing games at fly half for his club.
That's one of the things. We don't even really know how good. I mean, look, we listen to everybody, and you read Ronan O'Gara in the Examiner this morning, the guy who knows about these things and is full of praise for him. So we all assume he's going to turn into this unbelievable player, but we haven't seen a huge amount of him at 10. Yeah,
and in the last couple of weeks, I was speaking to Rog, because obviously he is better placed than probably most of us certainly better placed than us to discuss what makes a good fly half, and we hear a lot about game management and control first and foremost, if you're good at that, and the other skills then that come with it. Joey Carbery's a real natural talent, and he has this flair and ability to step, great passing skills. You saw the break he made last week. He stood up Hadley Parks, who's a really good defender for Wales and the Scarlets, and he has the ability to do that. His passing game is brilliant. The question mark is, and that's probably been the question mark over the fly halves in Munster, is game management and an authority and someone who kind of takes control. So he's still
takes
very
time to get that. No matter how good he is, it takes time to get that.
But look, he's an unbelievably talented player, and his elevation has been phenomenal. His first cap was against the All Blacks 18 months ago, or nearly 2 years ago now in Chicago, and but he's an unbelievable talent. But the game management stuff is really important. But maybe from looking at a Munster point of view, the question marks about their attack and their ability to create space and opportunities and score tries. We saw that came against them against Racing. Good forward pack who are very abrasive, can mix it with anyone, and there's maybe been an inability to get that Munster backline moving, because you look at the form of Keith Earls, Zebo's there, Conway. There's a fair bit of pace in the back three. Zebo, who's now leaving, obviously, and just the quality of ball and the ability to score tries in their back line, and just have something different. I think he will definitely bring something different from an attacking point of view. the challenge now for Munster is, can they hold on to him? Is this a short-term gig? It's been reported it's going to be 2 years. Can they hold on to him now and create something for him that he sees development, he sees an opportunity to win more European Cups and win trophies? And, you know, we've asked the question a few times, how far away are they from Leinster? Leinster, you know, the pace setters, they've been phenomenal this year. Can Munster close that
Feels
gap?
like a bit of a game changer, doesn't it?
It does feel like a bit of a game changer, yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think it's a magnificent signing, and he's Irish. They're not gone overseas. It is difficult. And the first question you asked me was how will he be taken in the Munster dressing room? There'll be unbelievable excitement. When I played, and if a new player comes in, a talented player who's really exciting.
The Leinster thing doesn't make any difference, does it?
No, that doesn't. Look, I think an ideal situation, Munster are going to have a lot of guys in their squad next year who they haven't produced. You can't get away from that fact. But that's just the reality of it.
You were there when Felix Jones went down in 2009, and he would have been a player that no Czech at the time was fuming about, that Leinster wanted to keep at that time too.
Yeah. It never bothered me, and I don't think it'll bother players in that dressing room when you put on the jersey, as long as you bring value, you buy into the culture, and you show kind of pride in the jersey. Is there any conversation?
Do they sit down and go, is there a bit of, do they get it out sort of front and centre and have a bit of banter about it, or how does it?
Yeah, there could be a bit of banter, a bit of slagging at times, whether you're in the gym or whether you're out training or whatever. But I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think that's just the way of the world at the moment. The club game obviously fed into the team I played on a lot when the club game was really, really strong, and we all played with our clubs in the late 90s. And that kind of fed the Munster team, where we know the school system is unbelievably strong here, and it's feeding into the Leinster group, particularly into their academy and then upwards. So they have to do things differently and evolve, and I don't think any Munster people will. Obviously the diehards maybe will be frustrated that there's not enough of guys coming through, but it's a poor cycle for guys coming through. I mean, when I say guys coming through, I mean outstanding talents who go straight into the squad, step up to Ireland. So there's going to be a number of players who are not Munster produced next year in the squad, but look, they've got to try and win, and they're trying to get back on track, and they've made a fair bit of progress in the last 2 years, particularly in Europe. There was 2 years where they didn't make the knockout stages. The last 2 years they've been in semi-finals. So to be fair, the glass is half full rather than half empty, and this guy could make a real difference. Plus Mike Haley is coming in, an Irish qualified player from Sale. Very, very talented player. He's 23 to replace Sebo. Tyg Byrne is going there as well. They're not Munster produced, but they're Irish qualified, and you know, it could make a real difference to them.
Yeah, the trajectory is definitely on the rise with Munster next year. But just to pick you up on the game management thing, because it's going to be very interesting to see how he slots into the Van Gran style of play. But just to be devil's advocate for a moment, because I'm all for this. We've been all for this for the last few weeks. I know Jeremy has been against it.
It's hard with these Leinster fellas sitting all around us, isn't it, Ron?
Yeah, absolutely. But like, there was a lot of talk about Conor Murray and his game management against Racing because it was the French style of the scrum half controlling the play. Like, is there an element that Conor Murray will continue to manage the game and Joey Carbery will be operating off Conor Murray's clock at 10 rather than vice versa, and as a result Carbery won't actually get as much experience as a game manager because of how strong his scrum half is?
No, I think, look, when you have a player like Conor Murray who's world class and probably the best 9 in the world, and we've seen that from, like, to me, Leinster's game is, they can play the game so many different ways. They have a strong kicking game. They kicked loads against Racing in those conditions in the final, and Sexton and McGrath kicked a huge amount, and it was effective. So I think first and foremost you need to have a strong set piece, good kicking game, good defensively, and you know, obviously you want to vary your attack and have ability to vary your attack, and that's the area that Munster kind of let down. And so I wouldn't put too much huge emphasis on game management. It's still a little bit unknown because of the conditions here, really. You know, when you play in wet, windy conditions in the Northern Hemisphere, sometimes you just got to kick the leather off the ball, and you don't want to be relying. This will actually help Conor Murray if you have a 10 who takes control a little bit. He's still very young. If he can, and look, I think the value here for Carbery, the experience he's taken with him from playing with and under Sexton, being in that Leinster environment, and that's probably a challenge for Leinster now, so he'll probably take a lot of ideas the way things are done, the way people who speak in meetings, some backline moves, all that kind of stuff, and maybe his own ideas. So he's got to put his own stamp on it. But I think it'll actually take a little bit of pressure off Conor Murray if he steps up and starts performing really well.
Will they have to change the game plan, Quinny? Like, because he's been used to playing a different game.
No, I don't. I think what he'll bring is his own value, and they do need to vary their game more. They're not going to go away completely from their traditions of being strong up front. And, you know, when you go to Thomond Park, I think sometimes, and it still intrigues me watching the team, the way they can get their intensity to a level that you're going, this doesn't make any sense. They're just kind of relentless in their energy. But if you stop Munster physically and you match them up front, well then, and you frustrate them in defence, you're not really concerned, even though there's some very good players out wide who can cause you major problems if they get ball individually. You're not really concerned about them cutting you open from 10, 12, 13. And that's been a problem. That's just a reality. And so look, maybe it'll improve. We don't know who's going to stay, or if Ian Keatley's going to go, or JJ Hanran, or Tyler Blandell. I don't know. You four fly halves. Bill Johnson is someone who was, you know, a huge prospect, still is, has had a lot of shoulder injuries. What happens with him? So there's a number of fly halves there now.
Somebody's going to have to go anyway, at least one.
You would imagine for their own, you know, they can sit there and fight for the jersey for sure, and put pressure on, but you probably need two or three that are capable of playing at that level. So it may be, I think last year when Ian Keatley and Tyler Blandell were going kind of head to head, and Blandell probably got the lion's share of the selections, Ian Keatley then played really well when he came on and was involved. So hopefully it'll bring on whoever stays their performance as well. But you imagine that it is an issue, someone maybe has to move.
Yeah. Leinster aren't happy about it, obviously.
No, and you look,
they haven't issued a statement. Normally at this point they'd say, oh listen, as I did with Jordy Murphy, sort of well done and good luck to you and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, if it was the other way around, I think, and it was a Munster player moving, Munster would be fuming, the fans, the supporters, and I think that's just the reality of it. He's leaving a team that have just won a European Cup and just won the Pro 14 title. He's involved with Ireland. Ireland have just won a Grand Slam. So for him, he's leaving a team that's outstandingly successful. He played full back a fair bit this year for him, but he's obviously made, in moving, he's actually saying, I want to play 10. I want to challenge Johnny Sexton for the 10 jersey for Ireland, and I want to kind of create my own legacy here by this move. It's a brave call, but you know, he's won a European Cup and he's had massive success. So I think he seems to be up for the challenge. And you would think that it is a game changer maybe for Munster.
Look after him, will you? Don't ruin him
it's
down there.
It's nothing to do with me now anymore, unfortunately. He's probably better off I'm not there with him.
We hope to see him back here in 2 years, you know.
Well, look, that's the thing. Will he come back now? Will Munster try and keep him? Will he enjoy himself there? A lot of the boys have moved down there from Leinster, to be fair, have loved it.
Let's just look at it as a 2-year loan spell. He's coming back here in 2 years as the complete ticket when Johnny retires, and all is well with the world at that point.
What about your team, Connacht? You're a Connacht man.
No, I'm from Westmeath. You know, I don't know how good you are in the provinces, Quinny.
Well, I was told you were from Connacht.
Well, I don't know where you were getting that rogue.
Yeah, set it up on screen as well at the top of the show.
You were jumping around the place 2 years ago when Connacht won the Pro 14.
You're mistaking me with some other ginger, because that never happened.
You were seen in a Connacht jersey as well. So
very quickly, because I know you got to go, but you're off. You're packing your bags and you're on your way to Oz shortly. What sort of dynamic is that for the Ireland players? Obviously, the end of a long season, you could see it as a bit of a slog at the point where maybe they sort of feel they should be on holidays. How hard is it for the players to get themselves up
I
for
think
that?
with this group, and sometimes we talk about these end-of-season tours, the vast majority of these players have been managed unbelievably well throughout the season. People are saying, oh, Johnny Sexton should be left at home, but he shouldn't. He's got plenty of breaks and rest throughout the season. He wants to go. It's a great opportunity. We haven't won a test series there since '79. You're on a massive high. It is still great. If they were to go and win a series there, it's incredible. It would be incredible to have that in the bank leading into World Cup season. I think if you're Michael Cheika, you're kind of rubbing your hands together. A little bit of uncertainty for him. 5 new uncapped players in his 32-man squad. There's 3 of his squad playing on Sunday for the Brumbies, which is absolutely crazy the week before the first test. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I know there's a huge determination to go there and try and win a series. It's not going to be easy. Australia sometimes you're confused about what kind of Australia you will get. They can be credible on their game. Sometimes they can be hit and miss. So I think there's a great opportunity here for this Irish squad. Rory Best obviously is a
good opportunity for Sean Cronin.
It is a great opportunity. He's had a fantastic season.
He's the player.
He's had a fantastic season. It's also a good opportunity for Niall Scannell to come into the squad and maybe get back to where he was. He's had a lot of injuries.
Does he?
Yeah, absolutely. Cronin will start, I think, and I think it is a great chance for him to go there. Like I said, there's a bit of uncertainty for the Wallabies. They've only one fly half in Bernard Foley in their squad, but they have a few exciting young players coming through as well. And their teams have been up and down in Super Rugby, but it's one I'm looking forward to. It should be a great chance for them to win a series.
Well, the next time we're talking to you, Quinny, you'll be doing something like outrageous, like wearing a pink T-shirt in the sun and giving us an update on the rugby.
Hopefully, anyway.
Hopefully it'll be a good update.
It's exciting. It's good. I think it's been an incredible year for Ireland, and I think it would cap it off if they won a series in Australia.
Good stuff. Looking forward to it. Safe trip.
Cheers.
Talk to you from down there. Alan Quinlan on All Events Rugby. We've a competition for you as well, so get your comments into us for tickets for the Ireland-USA friendly at the Aviva Stadium tomorrow night. They're premium tickets as well, so there's good stuff. Get your text into us, and we're going to do some sort of a comment of the day. Tommy, that's what we're up to here? Is it leave a comment or a question? That's the way we roll around here. And if they're pretty good, we're going to give you a pair of tickets for Ireland USA tomorrow night. You'll be in the draw for all of that good stuff. But in the meantime, Paul McShane is on the way. Before that, here is Joe Schmidt on that Joey Carbery move.
Very new news to me, so I haven't really had too much time to digest it personally. But it's a decision that Joey's taken a bit of time over, and certainly, while it may have been mentioned, it doesn't seem to have affected his performances too much. I think he's played really well, and I'd understand why Leinster would be desperately keen to hang on to him, and why Munster would feel that it's a huge bonus for them. The initial conversation with Leo, with myself and David Nusafora was not the best timing for any of us. It certainly wasn't where I wanted to be at the time, but I had a job to do, and all we asked was, could we ask, is there any interest for Ross or for Joey to go up to Ulster? Because Ulster were looking at the time at a foreign option. They needed to know by midday the following day, and so we had to see if there was any chance at all that one of our local number 10s were interested. And if there was no interest, then it was probably a different story. But there was a bit of interest from Joey at the time, and then he mulled that over, and I think he got an approach from Munster in the interim, and it kind of digressed then into a different conversation.
Yeah, Josh Schmidt there on the Joey Carbery to Munster transfer. A few texts in here, own texts and Facebook and all of that good stuff on this Friday morning. Will Byrne says, absolute joke, Joey Carbery going to Munster. Hashtag OTB AM. True, Owen, is what you say. That's
absolutely not. It's
true fact.
It's good to see that one of Gilroy's campaigns on this show hasn't worked out his desired effect, which was Joey Carbery staying at.
Spectacularly.
I think he accidentally. See, what happened was he was supposed to go to Ulster, and then Gerard was unhappy with that idea, so he said, let's start this rumour of him going to Munster, and look what's happened now.
It was the most obvious thing in the world that if he was going to leave Leinster, Munster would be an option.
Of course it was. Of course it was, but I think people didn't quite believe that Leinster and Munster would have such a symbiotic relationship, which is what has been.
Well, I don't think there's any. I don't think it's in the slightest bit symbiotic. I think it's a case of.
Of course it is. Leinster, you're probably right.
I don't want that happening.
In the long run, it will be viewed as a symbiotic relationship. Just like you said, I know you're being a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's like, oh, he'll come back up to us in 2 years. I genuinely believe that is what's going to happen. Will Munster pass Leinster in the pecking order? Probably not. Can they get one over Leinster in a big game next year? Perhaps do they meet in Europe? Potentially now, because they've got a potential big game player now at number 10. And of course, with the addition of Byrne as well, it's just it's a massive scoop for Munster.
Yeah, and and the thing about it is, I would say even Joey Carbery doesn't know what's going to happen in 2 years' time. It might be in his intention to come back to Leinster, but like who the hell knows what happens over the course of that 2 years.
Yeah.
Donegal O'Connell says, lads, any thoughts on JJ Hanrahan going to Leinster? They need a backup centre while his development seems to have stalled a bit. It could be refreshed under Lancaster. And of course the head coach Leo Cullen. I hadn't heard that one before. I mean, I don't know. I expect them to leave. I don't in the slightest but expect that JJ Hanrahan will go to Leinster.
No.
Ollie Tynan says no one's talking about Rory Scannell. Having him at 12 takes some pressure off Carberry because Scannell can kick.
Yeah, true.
Damien McDermott says, Damien from Brisbane, looking forward to the first game at the Suncorp. So good morning to you, Damien, or good evening. It's probably like about 9 o'clock at night there in Brisbane at the minute, so good morning to you. And Valerie Flynn on Facebook, good morning to you as well. Glad to have you with us. Keep your comments coming in. We've got some Ireland USA tickets for the best comment. We'll pick those out a little bit later in the show. But right now we're going to get stuck into the newspaper zone.
Yeah, we are indeed. I think you're starting with the Irish Independent this morning.
We're going to kick things off with the Irish Independent here. And GPA grants on hold in GAA drug test trials. So this is a slightly bizarre story with two very different accounts of events. On the one hand, the GPA saying that the Sport Ireland are withholding funding due to their requirement that, as the GPA say, has been delivered at the 11th hour for players to be tested at home. Sport Ireland say that is not the case. We've been in discussion for quite a long time, actually, and you've known about this for quite a significant period of time. Seamus Hickey, who's the acting CEO of the GPA at the minute, says he's been in consultation with the GPA members and they're not keen on it. They don't want to do it. Sport Ireland are saying this is a requirement of the funding that it seems like I think all inter-county players get some level of funding. It's your progression in the various tournaments. Depends on how much you actually get, but I mean they're not huge sums of money. I think the top one is under 2,000 anyway, either way. But so it does seem, having read it, and also there's a piece in the Examiner where Seamus Hickey talks about this morning in an opinion piece that he's written there. It seems like, according to Sport Ireland, the GPA had agreed in a conversation with the GAA and Sport Ireland that they would go ahead and do this.
Sure.
But now the GPA are giving out that they haven't had enough time. So it seems like, trying to read between the timelines, that they agreed to do it and then consulted their members.
Yeah, maybe if this is an issue of the GPA saying that we're not quite ready for this, but we're in favour of it, then it's fine. But there is the kind of stench of this that it's like, oh, we're an amateur organisation, therefore our players should not be subject to higher standards in clean sport, which is a little bit of a nonsense. I know that's not exactly the point Hickey's making, to be fair, but there might be other members, there might be people around the country who are of that belief.
I think that's quite central. I think that's absolutely the point.
But it's nonsense. Yeah. It is not. Once you receive, and it it doesn't matter what your income is off your sport. It doesn't matter what you're earning. If you're an amateur sport, particularly in a game that is so central to the fibre of this country, it should be held up to the highest standards of clean sport and anti-doping, no matter what you're earning. But on top of that, a high cohort of players are earning some bit of a wedge off Sport Ireland, and therefore should, without question, then be subject to the whereabouts system. Absolutely no debate about that. There is potentially a grey area about the players who are receiving nothing from Sport Ireland. Even then, I would firmly land myself on the side of the fence. I don't think they would be required to. But even then, I would still say, once you're an inter-county player, no matter what you're earning from Sport Ireland, you should be subject to the whereabouts system, because the whereabouts system helps us promote clean sport. It helps people who may be doping, if anybody is, get caught. I mean, that's what we want. We want people who are doping to fail their tests. And how are you expected to fail any tests if you are kind of managing what you're taking around games? And we know, particularly in the football championship, you play very irregularly. It is very possible. I'm not saying anybody is doing this, but I'm saying that if I'm an inter-county footballer and I want to dope, and I'm not going to be involved in, say, the Super 8s this summer, I can say, well, I'm going to play once a month. I can take whatever I'm going to take, and it'll probably be out of my system come 6 weeks' time when we play our next championship game. Yeah. If I microdose for the next 2 weeks, and it might still be in my system 4 weeks later, I might still be getting the benefits of it. The whereabouts system is absolutely essential to clean sport. That while I say that, I'm not saying that the whereabouts system has cleaned up the sports like athletics and cycling and tennis, where we've seen some very, very famous examples of
Doorbells don't always function on this.
Doorbells are, that is the next thing we need to tackle here. Sport Ireland needs to put funding into doorbells
Could be a grant,
to make sure they work.
There is a home grant scheme that allows you to sort of, insulate your house and stuff. So maybe doorbells could just become a thing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's kind of where I fall down.
I think that's fair enough. If you're going to get some money from them, and this is a requirement of getting that money, then that's what you got to do. So that's in the Irish Independent today, and as I said, Seamus Hickey's written about it as well in the Irish Examiner this morning. Joey Carbery also dominates the Irish Independent there, as he does in the Times Ireland. So I'm leaving to get a chance at 10, says Joey Carbery there. And I love being written off, says Bernard Brogan, over on the right-hand side there, as he continues his comeback from that cruciate injury. He's hoping to get back by August. So that is the Times Ireland edition. On the Irish Times this morning, it is rugby all the way, as it tends to be certainly most Fridays when we're discussing the Irish Times. Prospect of more game time at out half sees Carbery up for Munster, writes Jerry Thornley here. And I thought quite possibly he was going to stay. Joe Schmidt's press conference yesterday kind of saying, listen, I didn't really know very much about what was going on with that whole thing. I sat down, gave him some advice. He asked for my advice. I sat down, somebody took a cheeky pic. I don't understand why he got that reference into the press conference yesterday. And on we go. So that is the Irish Times. The Irish Examiner, game changer is how the Irish Examiner are looking at it this morning. Simon Lewis and Ronan O'Gara, who is very excited, it has to be said, having read that piece today. He's uber excited about the prospect of Joey Carbery rocking up at Thomond Park. He does sort of wonder about how he fits in terms of the system at Munster, but excitement seems to be the key word around Munster today in relation to that story. The Irish Daily Mail, Carbery here as well, but Lee's big fear, another head injury may end Keegan career. There's the Mayo footballer Lee Keegan, who's concerned at the age of 28 that another concussion may end up ending his career. And Seamus Coleman says we must take USA games seriously, that they need to arrest the slight slip-off in the momentum of the Republic of Ireland team. That's the Irish Daily Mail. The Irish News this morning, we can take a quick look at that here. Paul Grimley, the Armagh coach, criticism will inspire Armagh in the qualifiers. Reading some of those quotes a little bit earlier, suggesting that a win over the mighty Westmeath in Mullingar can really kickstart a run in the qualifiers for the Armagh footballers. I expect them to fully get it done against a bang average Westmeath team who are without a load of the best players. That'll be no indicator as to how they'll fare over the course of the rest of the championship.
That's the height of cute heroism coming from a Westmeath man right there.
No. I wish there was some sort of, I don't have the sort of Kerry credentials to back it up on. That is true. That's the difficulty. And the main story of interest from the Racing Post this morning, from my point of view anyway, Maurizio Pochettino could be on Real's radar. So that is the papers from me for the minute. What have you got?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all to the story on the back of the Mirror this morning. Real will poach Poch. It's Spurs' worst nightmare as Madrid make Argentine top target to replace Zidane. Of course, Zinedine Zidane stepping down as Real Madrid manager just yesterday. On the front page of the Herald Sports section then, they're focusing on the Dublin hurlers. It's do or die. D-Day as Gilroy's Dubs face relegation shootout with Faithful in Parnell Park. A massive game this weekend in the Leinster Hurling Championship. Automatic relegation, you would suspect, for whoever loses that game. On the back of the Star this morning, it's Hacksaw Bridge. Chelsea fear Abramovich ready to sever ties to Blues. Worrying times for Chelsea, or for any fans of Roman Abramovich, really. You know, the Chelsea fans that have come on board 15 years ago when the Russian took over. It may be a sad day for them to depart, as potentially Manchester City fans could be their next club if they decide to go on that bandwagon. We've obviously seen the story regarding the visa, that he's now an Israeli citizen and that he may not renew his UK visa, and he may not be involved in the new Stamford Bridge, which is the pun, Hacksaw Bridge there, obviously. So I guess worrying times.
What's the pun?
You know the movie Hacksaw Ridge?
I know, sorry, I was going to ask you. No, I'm with you, yeah.
Right, okay.
It was a good song as well, a very popular country and western song.
Yeah, we can do like a country western segment some morning if you want.
I'll add it these days. Yeah.
The pun of the morning, though, is the sun. I bet that you look good on Zidane's floor. Real I Klopp, Chelsea target ZZ. That's an exclusive there by Mark Irwin and Paul Jiggins, who claimed that there's going to be a bit of a managerial roundabout, which we thought was kind of Napoli, Chelsea, and kind of one person outside of the game with Sarri, Conte and Ancelotti. But now it looks like that there could be a different one involving Real Madrid, Spurs and Chelsea. So I don't know, who knows if this stuff is true or not, but certainly there's going to be a lot to talk about in the club scene.
I'm not sure Klopp is a fit for Real Madrid.
No, good point. Sorry, Liverpool involved. We don't need the World Cup this summer, given this story. We don't need the World Cup. There will be enough stories given Bale. Now that Klopp and Conte have been involved, everybody's going to be linked to this Real Madrid job. And is this going to be the next Real Madrid manager? I wonder. This is the back of the Guardian. Real targeting Pochettino, the Spurs manager in the frame after Zidane stuns Madrid with exit. Just one final newspaper this morning. It is front page of the Daily Telegraph sports section. There's Chelsea turmoil. Abramovich pulls out of the new £1 billion stadium plan. So worrying times, as we said, for Chelsea fans.
Yeah, throwing his toys out of the pram there is old Roman. Right at 8:15 on this Friday morning. Delighted to have you with us. Paul McShane is going to be in studio next, but before that, Graham Hunter was on the show last night, and he was talking about Zinedine Zidane's decision to step down.
I can leave on a high note, and I can leave on a fair note. But that's still, even though it's as early as he possibly could take the decision and tell them, given the celebrations post-Kiev, time is marching on for signatures, for players who'll say, well, I was going to sign, or I was interested, or I am available, but who's the coach? Now, the coach doesn't always get a say in the signings at Real Madrid. Florentino Perez and Jose Ancho Sanchez dictate the majority of them, and Zidane has had his voice in that up until now. So I'm not saying that it's hurly-burly, fall over yourself, and I'm not saying appoint Wenger. I wouldn't. But time is tight, and there is a quotient of availability if you're a coach of name. And I go back to the other name that I said to you, which is clearly Mourinho is a guy that has been there, who said he would come back when he left. There's a relationship between him and Florentino Perez. He said no 2.5 years ago. I wonder if there was a discussion now what the decision by Mourinho would be. I'm at least intrigued by that. Then you go to Maxi Allegri. Then you think about would they reach out and do something wild like Raul or Xabi Alonso? These questions dog me. There are candidates. Jogi Löw was just renewed at Germany. I think Martin O'Neill's probably unavailable. Keno's. There's a list.
Yeah.
Wenger, even though he isn't your choice nor mine, isn't 100-1 to be considered.
Yeah, that's Graham Hunter on the show last night talking about the Zinedine Zidane decision to step away from Real Madrid. I'm delighted to say we're joined in the studio. We weren't sure how this is going to go from a Ginger point of view, but so far so good. Paul McShane, good morning to you.
Morning.
Welcome to the studio.
Thanks very much.
The Ginger thing we were sort of considering might be a bit of an internet overload. It's never been tried before anywhere on the internet.
Apparently 15% of the world's gingers are in the studio right now. It's the official stat I'm hearing.
Yeah, we're a dying breed anyway.
We are, yeah. I had reason, don't ask me why, to Google this last week, how many gingers live in the world. Somebody had said to me that they kind of figured, it was actually in this studio, we were discussing it last week. Somebody said that they figured there might only be a couple of million, but I mean, I think there's 500,000 in Ireland alone. So, I mean, it suggests that the numbers are good, you know?
Yeah.
But it's unique. I'm happy with it.
It is.
That's a bullshit statistic anyway.
Listen, thanks a million for coming into us. Your end of season, obviously, and we'll talk to you a little bit about Reading because it's been an interesting couple of years for you, I think. Talk to you a little bit about that and maybe a bit of Ireland as well. But you're here. You're going to be playing golf out in Druids Glen on Sunday, the Sean McShane Golf Memorial Day. Yeah,
we have it every year. It's in memory of my dad, who passed away 8 years ago now. So we just have a golf thing going on in Druids Glen, and it's through Newtown GAA, and whatever we make goes to the autism centre in Newtown, and it's good. It's good, a good day out, and a lot of people turn up for it, local teams, and try and get a few of the lads to play, a few of the football lads. So Killer's playing, yourself playing. So it's a good day, and looking forward to it.
Your dad was a hurler?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Raheny and Wicklow don't naturally sort of slip off the tongue as hurling strongholds necessarily. Yeah,
he played for Raheny, and he played a bit for Dublin as well. So he was. I'm in a Gaelic family here.
That's him there at the back left, I think.
That's him, yeah. Back left, yeah, heading him. He was big into the GAA, and I was as well. I think he probably would have preferred me to go into the Gaelic.
Would he? Yeah.
Yeah. I think actually when I always wanted to play for Joey's when I was younger, and I got scouted playing for Newtown at the time, and the coach came up to me, mum and dad, after the game and said, "Does you want to trial for Joey's?" And my dad said, "No, he's too busy. He's too busy playing Gaelic for Newtown and Wicklow. He has no time for that." But then my mum realised that it was my dream to play for Joey's.
Yeah. Wow.
So then, went to trial.
Yeah. What position did he play?
He was, I think he was a think he was a midfielder.
Right.
I don't know, or even a forward.
Right.
Yeah,
and his brother, his brother was in the shot there as well.
Yeah, his brother. Yeah, the Mitchell brothers going around. They were. Yeah, there's a good few stories. I used to love when he told the stories of him and his brother. Yeah, there's some interesting stories.
Were they hardcore? Were they the Mitchell brothers?
Yeah, I think they were. Yeah, the Raheny lads as well. The Raheny, the Gaelic lads come and play in the golf as well, and you know they're good crack, and they tell a few stories when they're there. So it's always interesting stories.
And he dabbled in a bit of coaching, did he? Is that right? Did I read that he was, when he went to Wicklow, that he was trying to spread the hurling gospel in Wicklow?
Yeah, he did. He took over Newtown. He introduced hurling to Newtown, and yeah, there were some interesting hurling matches up in Wicklow.
It's a bit of a mad GAA spot at the best times.
War. Yeah. So yeah, he loved the coaching, and he coached my Gaelic team growing up.
Right.
From under 10s to under 16s, and then I had to stop the Gaelic. I remember I had to stop it. I think we played Killians in a match while I was playing in a school match, and I'd signed for United at the time, and I think I was a marked man then in Gaelic matches, and I got the head punched off me from the back of my head, right. Yeah, from behind. So I thought that was the day I thought Gaelic has to stop.
That will do. That was your last game.
That was my last game, wow. I think. Yeah.
What sort of a coach was he?
Well, he was vocal.
Right.
Yeah, he was. He'd always tell the lads to do 10 sit-ups and 10 press-ups before you go to bed, and when you wake up. And then there was a test in training. Everyone had to lie down on their back, and he'd step across everybody to make sure that they're doing their sit-ups. So he was good. It was good fun, and yeah, I think everyone loved him as a coach, and yeah, he got the best out of people.
Yeah, good. Well, listen, best of luck with the golf day, obviously, on Sunday. We hope everything goes well. Hoping for a nice day as well, and hopefully I'll beat Kilban in the golf is my main objective anyway. Yeah. It's been as mentioned, a sort of unusual maybe couple of years for you. You're 3 years now at Reading?
3 years, yeah. 3 years. Going into
settled
my
almost as you've been, is it, over your course of your career?
Yeah, probably actually, yeah. Yeah, well, probably... Yeah, Hull. I was at Hull for like 6.5 years, but it was a big roller coaster. I was on a Hull. You know, I went there first on loan, and it was great. We were, you know, we were top of the league. Well, top six until Christmas, and then I got called back to Sunderland, and then the following season, then I signed for Hull, and then we got relegated at the end of that year, and then a new manager came in and just wanted everyone gone. And personally, I wanted to try and get back up with Hull because I felt as if I owed it to the fans, and I was desperate to stay, but I don't think the manager wanted me to stay.
Who's the manager then?
Nigel Pearson.
Right.
So then, yeah, it was a bit of a turbulent season that year. We came down. I was sort of in and out, and it was frustrating because I was feeling good and I wanted to play, and then I had to go out on loan. I had a big bust up at night with Nigel.
Had you,
yeah, sort of just come to a head at one point. But then I went on loan towards the end of the season. I went to Barnsley, which was good. I played 15 games, and it was a sort of a quick fix at the time, but I really enjoyed my time there, and you know, got playing games again. Then the following season, it was all looking rosy in pre-season and stuff, but looked like I was going to be starting the first game, and then I got injured, had a really bad calf injury, and then it was just... Yeah, then Nigel Pearson left, Nicky Barmby took over, and I ended up going out on loan to Crystal Palace. And then the next season, Steve Bruce came in, and that's when I sort of settled in Hull, but not comfortable, you know. Well, I don't think you should ever be comfortable in football, but it was the most sort of... It was the time where I was like, right, now, this is it sort of thing.
And you'd been sort of 27, 28 maybe? That's what
I was 20, yeah, about that, 27, 28. And then we ended up getting promoted that season back to the Premier League, which was great, which was brilliant. And then had a couple of years then the Premier League with Hull sort of in and out. And then towards the end was actually I played the last 15 to 20 games in the Premier League with Steve Bruce, and then my contract come to an end, and that was the end of my whole era.
Yeah. With Pearson, you go in and you go, listen, here I want to play, and he says, you're not playing. Is that I mean, I don't know, it's overly simplified. How does that work?
Yeah, it was I felt as if I should have been playing. Well, I always feel as if I should be playing, you know, but I felt good, and every time I played, I'd play well, but he just had it in his head. He just wanted a fresh start. He wanted his own players in, which is, you know, as a manager, probably understandable, but I was desperate to play, and, you know, I was willing to do anything to play. And so it was a bit of a clash. So yeah, but I get on with Nigel now, and, you know, but at the time it was, you know, a lot going on.
It's good to hear you get on well with him now, but I dare say you weren't the only person who's had their falling out with Nigel Pearson during that era.
Yeah, well, I think it was sort of later on in his managerial career that I think he had a few fallings out, but yeah, I had one very early with him. But it wasn't as if, I don't know, it was just a clash where you know, when I'm not playing, you know, I can be, I don't know. I'm just desperate to play everywhere I go, and I want to play as many games as I can. And at the time, I felt as if I felt good, and I just felt every time I was given the chance and I did well, it was sort of taken back off me, and I was in that point in my career where I was 25, 26, and supposed to be sort of your peak sort of thing, so I was desperate to get going. Absolutely, and you say there that you should never be comfortable in football, but I dare say you could have done with a little bit more comfort in that whole situation where maybe things, maybe off the pitch, maybe in terms of your league position, could have been just a little bit more stable, and that you could have been focusing on your football a little bit rather than, crap, who's going to be the next manager? Will I actually survive this football club? Yeah, it was. There was a lot going on at the time, but it's just the way football is. You know, it's just things can change really quickly, and that was always in the back of my mind. That I knew that it wasn't, you know, it was a very turbulent time for me, but I always had in the back of my mind that football changes so quick. So I just kept going. Just sort of, I think in football you got to stay in the fight for as long as you can, and I stayed in the fight at Hull, and I eventually turned it around. So it was a big learning experience for me, and looking back, it was I actually wouldn't change it, because it ended up being, because the Hull fans realised the roller coaster I had been on a Hull, and then when I turned it around, the fans really took to me, and it was a great experience at Hull.
You're sort of well used to, like, you'd set your stall out very early in your career in terms of knocking on managers' doors and going, here, listen, I want to be in the team. Like you did it with Fergie. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. What's the? Yeah. We want to hear about this. What happens there? No, it was so I went over at United when I was 16, and there was a couple of clubs interested. Is there? Yeah, it was. I went on loan to Brighton when I was 19, 20, and I ended up getting Player of the Year, and I played over 40 games, and I felt as if I was going back to United, and I wanted a chance, just to train with the first team and stuff, and I knew in the back of my mind that I looked at previous players at United in the reserves, and they'd gone out on loan, and then they'd come back, and then they'd stayed in the reserves for like a year, and they'd just gone stale, and they just sort of took a backward step. Where in my head was that I'm going out on loan, and I'm going to keep going. I don't want to take a step back and go back to the reserves, because I think it's sort of soul destroying. That is, when you get to taste the first team football, then you go back to the reserves. It's no good. So that was in my mind, and I came back into pre-season and trained with the first team for a couple of days, and then there was a group of us put back to the reserves, and that was a big no-no for me. So I sort of nipped it in the bud early. Knocked on the door, yeah, and said, listen, what's the story here, and I just need to know. Are you packing yourself when you're getting ready to do that? Well, to be honest, when I was actually with when I go in, if I'm going in to see someone, if I'm going in to see a manager when I was younger anyway, I'd actually, the night before, I'd sit there with a pen and paper and think about what I'm going to say. Right. Because before, I've done it when I was like younger, say just with a coach, I'd sort of sit there, and because I was young, I'd sort of freeze a little bit, and I'd forget what I was going to say. But then going in to see Ferguson, I'd prepared myself, and I sort of said to myself, you're going to sit in that seat until you finish what you're going to say. So I was prepared going in, and just asked the questions, and
be fair, at the time there was Man United were a big power at the time, and around my age group as well, there was like Johnny Evans, Gerard Piqué, and Ryan Shawcross, who have done all right for themselves.
Yeah.
So I just went in to see what the crack was.
What were the questions you were asking him? Like, what was the...
Just what the future, am I going on the pre-season tour and stuff, and he didn't know, and I was like, well, that says it all really, so I have to move, I have to go, because I had a year left of my contract, but I had to nip it in the bud early. He said, I think you're making a hasty decision, but I said, I've been thinking about it for a long time, to be honest.
Yeah. So
I just want to crack on my career now.
And he wasn't giving you any hope of, listen, stick with us for a little bit, and because you mentioned some of the players that were there. Obviously, it was a pretty fruitful time for them defensively, and I'm sure you're saying, listen, I'm as good as this guy, I'm sure, but
because you do. I think you've got to back yourself, But it was just, I just wanted to crack on. He was sort of saying, as he said, I think you're making a hasty decision or whatever, but I had in my mind that I didn't want to end up sort of on the scrap heap in the reserves, and I was desperate then to make a career for myself and just to get playing senior football.
Because there is that story, and it's completely fictitious, that Fergie tells about you challenging Piqué to a race.
Yeah, that's gone around. That's. I think Tom Heaton started that. I think 'cause he was in my digs at the time, and I don't know where that started from. It was like...
Was it Fergie himself? Sort of, I don't know. It was...
No, I don't think it was Fergie. But it was... we sort of compared... he was... I think Fergie might have said that, Piqué, I know, because I think he was saying about me that... Because initially it was my height wasn't... I wasn't big enough to be a centre-back, but then I went on loan to the Championship, and height wasn't a problem, and then it was like half a yard of pace, and then he compared Piqué, and I think I basically said, well, he's not the quickest, you know what I mean? And then it just developed from there, and then it was all of a sudden then I offered Piqué out a race in the car park, and that's totally fabricated.
You were going out to mark up the pitch, and
I was like, right, you ready? But, no,
would you taken him?
I might have done, actually. Got my arm across. That extra yard.
That's part of the game. That's fair enough. It's that 100-metre sprint. That's all right.
Yeah, but that just developed over the years.
Yeah, it's weird because when you look back at the stuff Alex Ferguson has said about you, it's all been really complimentary, comparing you to Roy Keane at the start. So why did that, not that relationship, but that kind of view of you change?
Well, I don't know. I don't think the relationship broke down. It was just that I was too eager to get going, I think, and I wasn't going to risk hanging around in the reserves to the risk of going backwards. And whatever he probably had in his head, he probably seen the likes of Johnny Evans and Piqué and maybe Ryan Shawcross, and thought, maybe the best thing is to go. But we had a good conversation. It was a good conversation, and there was there was nothing major. It was probably. He was probably thinking, who's this fella coming in asking loads of questions? But I just needed to get it straight in my head what was going on. And
in some ways, it strikes me that he must be on some level impressed by that too. That you weren't, actually, you would have been the sort of player he should have been trying to keep on that basis, because you weren't afraid to come into him and go, listen, I want to do the best for my career, an ambitious player, hungry player who wants to play football. That's the sort of player he wants to have involved almost. You're not the guy that's sitting in the change room internally being eaten up by this thing. You're actually all right to come in and sit down and go, I've been captain, I think, for the reserves, and I've gone out and had a successful loan spell, and I want to further my career now.
Yeah, I think it was for me, it was a little bit of a frustration that, I had, the first year there, I won the U Cup and then captained the Milk Cup team, winning Milk Cup team, and I thought that was, the whole Beckham era gigs and all that was what they did, U Cup, Milk Cup. And in my mind I'm thinking, right, I want a bit of a shot here, and went on pre-season with the team, and then was back in the reserves. I was 18, and then I did well in the reserves, and I just wanted that crack, of getting a cup game or something, and it didn't come. And remember, like, I used to go away with the Ireland under-19s and that, and then when I'd come back, because in the under-19s in Ireland, it was like the games were still in season, so you'd miss a few games. Like, say there was a cup game, I think I missed a cup game, and then I'd come back and they're like, well, you would have played that cup game if you went away with the under-19s Ireland. And it was just all that sort of stuff that got me frustrated, because I'm thinking, well, was it, or...
Yeah. But they could have also said that to you, couldn't they? Like, if you stay here, you're going to do this thing.
That's what I mean. It was just a bit of a build-up of frustration that I thought maybe I should have got a game in the cup or something. And then when I went out on loan and played 40 games and ended up getting Player of the Year for a lone player, I thought, you know, now was my chance. And then the first sniff that I got that they weren't having me, I was just like, right, that's it, I gotta go. I gotta take because that's what some lads that I seen were holding on to the Man United tag, and I wasn't at the time. I was like, it doesn't bother me now. I just want to just make a career for myself and crack on.
Was there ever the thought of more loan spells, like even just kind of comparing yourself to John O'Shea a little bit? Or did you feel comparing yourself to John O'Shea was kind of like, I'm Irish and I play for Manchester United, his situation might have been completely different to mine? Yeah,
I think, everyone's in a different situation, and I just had in my head that I was 20. Like, that's the thing, when I was younger, I was like, when I was younger, like when I was 20, I used to think I was old. I used to have in this thing, I'm getting old, I'm getting, you know, my career's sort of passing me by here. So I wanted to just get going straight away. So I wasn't really comparing myself to anybody, because everybody has, you know, different journeys, different situations in the game, and so yeah, John I think went on loan to Antwerp, and I'm not sure where else.
Bournemouth, was it Bournemouth?
Was it? Yeah. So I'd been on loan to Walsall as well when I was 18. Played 4 or 5 games there. I was only a month loan, and so then I came back. I actually came back injured, and then the following season I went on loan to Brighton. So I thought that was me, like, and
like you mentioned there, it's very interesting that you said some people got obsessed with the tag of being a Manchester United fan. Would I be right in saying that you almost had an obsession with the tag of not being a teenager anymore?
Yeah, it was just the fact that, like, I seen it happen in front of my own eyes, where lads came back on loan and they went back to the reserves, and it was like, what are you doing? And then they were going backwards, and I just didn't want that to happen to me. I didn't want that to risk me not making a career in the game. So I just the minute I got the sniff that I wasn't being fancied, I was gone. And I wanted to do it early as well, because it was like the start of pre-season, and I wasn't going on the pre-season tour. That was sort of clear in the meeting I had with Ferguson, and I was like, right, I can't hang around here now and play in the reserves.
Like you said, you were too eager there as well, which is another very interesting term to use. And like, was that prevalent around the rest of your career? Because they always say you can never try too hard. I've never heard somebody say that they were too eager or had too much of a work ethic.
Yeah, I think I was. I think you can. I think you can overdo it. I think you can be too eager, and I think you can. I know people sort of say, I've heard, he doesn't want it, and he doesn't want it enough. And I've said it about people myself, but I think you can over want it. I think you can definitely over want it, and you can overdo things. And I think that was probably one of my biggest downfalls, where I would over want it. I'd be too eager. So as I've grown up, as I've got older, I've eased off a little bit and become a little bit wiser.
What are you doing that like when you over want it? Like, what are the things that you were doing that manifests itself?
Like, thinking too much. I think thinking about games, like being too passionate in games, and probably training too hard, overly training. Like one summer I trained twice a day, every day, and had weekends off. I didn't have a holiday. I was like, from Monday to Friday, I was going to the gym twice a day, and then felt good, felt as if I was doing the right thing. First week back in pre-season, tore my cartilage. So that sort of eagerness to do well and to work hard. Yeah, it's all well and good, but I think there's definitely a balance that you need to find.
How would that 19 or 20-year-old Paul McShane reflect on that decision now at 32 and reflect on the career that you've had since?
At the time, I still think it was the right decision. I really do. It got me going early, and you know, if I hung around in the reserves, God knows what would have happened. So I sort of struck while the iron was hot, as in I came off the back of 40 odd games in the championship, player of the year. So I knew that I had a chance of getting a good club, and then West Brom came in, and they just come down from the Premier League. So I think at the time it was all right. I don't look back, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it that much. It's just it was just something that I needed to do.
And if you were saying, you know, you had that sense of urgency at 19, 20 in terms of, geez, I'm getting old here. At 32, what are you thinking? I mean, you made it back, I think, for the last game this season from injury and been out for a couple of months. So
yeah, I had so what
are you thinking now about the urgency of your career almost at this stage? Is it? I'm
sort of easy now. I know, like I'm 32, and in terms of football, it's old, but I feel good, and you know, I'm not gonna let age be me cage sort of thing. I'm just gonna keep going for as long as I can, and I think I'm in sort of a, you know, I'm not as mad as I was when I was 19, 20, but just become a little bit more wiser, and I'm just going to go with the flow, see what happens, see what comes. But as I said before, I know that football is survival of the fittest, and you got to stay in the fight as long as you can. And hopefully, you've got some great years ahead of me.
Fair to say that not this season, just gone, but the previous season might have been one of your better of your entire career almost under Jaap Stam and the type of football that was being played at that time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was really. Yeah, it was brilliant. It really was. Yeah, Jaap was he was fantastic when he came in, and brilliant coach, really brilliant. And the way he had us playing, it was like we were playing like Man City like played in the previous season.
All on the deck
and play no matter what. And like I was at Man United's academy and was all playing out from the back and stuff, and you'd always, as a centre back, you'd always drop off to try and get the ball. But you know, if the strikers came to you, it was like, okay, right, push up the pitch. But Jaap had like all movements going on, and it was a real eye opener. So it was a fantastic learning curve. And as a centre back, because he was a centre back as well, some of his tips were, you know, brilliant, and learned a lot off him. But like as playing centre back in his teams, it was like, I think in a game, centre backs might cover 9.5k. In some games playing for Jaap, I was covering 11.5 because he'd rely on the goalkeeper and the back four to build up the play, and you were making angles all over the place. So you were sprinting to make an angle for the goalkeeper, and if the goalkeeper kicked it, which mostly he did, he'd be sprinting up and sprinting back, just making angles everywhere. And it was a joy to play in, and it was, as I said, it was a big learning curve.
Stephen Reid was there as a coach, was he, that same year?
Yeah, Reedy was there. Yeah, Reedy was there, and he came when he came under Steve Clark, and Steve Clark brought me in. So so Reedy was very good. Took a lot of the sessions, and yeah, he's a good young coach.
I was talking to Keith Andrews about you because he watches a good bit of championship football, and he was saying that you were like Beckenbauer coming out with the ball at the back, and he said I could quote him on that as well.
Yeah.
But like it seems like you found a manager or a style that very much suited your game. Like it must be hugely frustrating. Like Eoin mentioned earlier on about the chopping and changing at a club like Hull. So you're totally at the whim of whatever manager comes in and whatever sort of style they want to play, unless you end up following Jaap Stam everywhere he goes. That's tough.
Yeah. It's the thing was like, that's the thing. It was like all the way Jaap played and the way he wanted us to play. It did suit me, but I think you know what I mean. Some people think I can't kick a ball, you know, because I'm all this aggression, and I'm passionate, and I might do a rash tackle here or there, but you sort of get pigeonholed in that way, where it's like he can't, you know, he can hardly pass a ball, he can hardly kick a ball. But like I grew up in the Man United academy, sort of wanting to play out. They encouraged playing out, so that sort of short passing sort of did suit me. And with Jaap, it sort of, you know, I just really enjoyed it, the way he was playing, and it was just, as I said, it was an eye opener, and everyone bought into it straight away, and you know, I certainly did, and it was a joy to play in, because when you're playing against teams playing the way we were playing, passing, keeping the ball, you could hear the frustration in the opposition. And I think we caught a few teams off guard as well, because the previous season, like, we ended the season really poorly. So I think people thought we were, going to be crap this season. But, we surprised a few people. We ended up coming third and, unfortunately getting beaten in the playoff final.
Why do you think people would have said that you can't kick a football?
I don't know. Well, obviously in games, mistakes, you make mistakes, and as a young defender, I made my fair share of mistakes, and this is my style of play, maybe in my aggression and stuff, and you just I think you get pigeonholed a little bit if you're aggressive and willing to get stuck in. I think you get pigeonholed in that sort of sense, and maybe it takes it away, takes people's minds away from the game and the whole game of it, of football. Because
it seems almost ironic that if you're a ball playing defender playing good football like you have been at Reading, and you're Irish, that would be the hole that you're pigeonholed into. Like, it seems almost the opposite of it, that if somebody can play some bit of ball, they're hailed as the next Lionel Messi almost, if they're Irish. So it seems strange, doesn't it, that's the contradiction there, that they say you can't kick a ball despite the fact that you're a ball playing defender, Yeah, but it's just football. Like, that's football in general. I think it's 95% perception out there. It's not, people actually miss things. It's people might get influenced what people say, or you're Irish, and you're not from Europe, you're not from the continent, you're not cultured. It's all just perception, and I think that's life in general, really.
Do you think that perception extends to the Irish management team at the minute?
As in,
I couldn't believe when I looked up to see that is it one cap in 5 years?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Two. I played...
It's the England game?
I came on against England, and then I played against Slovenia there a couple of years ago.
Okay. Why, I honestly, I couldn't, because you've been involved in a lot of squads, and I was really surprised to see that there were so few caps over that time. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think when Martin and Roy first took over, I had an ankle injury at Hull. I was out for 3 months, and I knew, like, when I first got injured, Martin and Roy rang me and were saying, sorry to hear about your injury, and it was, come, get well soon or whatever. And I was chatting to them, and then I sort of got back fit, but then I think they'd had their players that they were dealing with, and I think there was a squad in that summer, because I came back and played just caught the end of the FA Cup final. So then I was back fit, and then there was a squad in the summer which I wasn't in. So I thought, okay, I was out injured for a while, so I understand them. But then I wasn't in the next squad, and it's just the way it sort of worked out. That I don't know.
Like, there's been a lot of players coming in, players we're not sure about, like Derek Williams in the last squad. Like, he may end up being a fantastic player, but a lot of players that we're not sure about. Whereas, like, they know what you're about. Like, it just seems like an unusual one to me that they wouldn't. And it doesn't sound like they're overly communicating either in terms of the rationale behind it.
Well, no, I've not spoke to them. No, I've not spoke to them recently. But yeah, I don't know. It's just their decision. They decide on the players that they're going to bring in, and yeah, it's.
Is that frustrating to you when you see some of these guys coming in that are, like, frequently not playing at your level, or as frequently or as well?
In the past, I've sort of thought about that, yeah, but I'm just going with it now. It's like, I'm here if they want to pick me, and if not, that's their decision. But they've got a lot of players that they've dealt with over the years, and maybe they've taken a liking to some players, and I'm just going with it now, and I'm never going to sort of rule myself out of being called up for Ireland, or I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going to come out and retire or anything like that. I'm here for as long as that I feel as if I can play, and yeah, so it's balls in their court, really.
Yeah, because, like, even with Roy, he's a guy that I'm sure you must know him pretty well. Like, your careers have sort of, there's been a fair bit of symmetry there over the last while. I mean, I don't know that anybody is really on those sort of terms with Roy, that you can pick up the phone and go, oh, hey, remember me?
Yeah.
I still exist. But is that an avenue, or what's the... What's that relationship like? Is it?
Well, I done it like when a few years ago. I did it when they sort of first took over because I rang Roy just to see what the story was, and you know what I mean, just to to say that I'm still alive, sort of thing. But yeah, like I know Roy now for a good few years, and I could pick up the phone or whatever, but it's what's it gonna do now? It's sort of like I'm here if you fancy it, and if not, okay, But I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm been doing the last few years and keep my head down, training, playing as well as I can play, and if I get the call up, brilliant, and if not, well, that's life.
Yeah, it strikes me that the 20-year-old Paul McShane would have been. You've spoken about the maturity that's come into your life, both on and off the field. Would have been barreling the door down, going, "Here, listen."
Yeah, probably. I think it's like when you sort of like, even now. I know I've been out injured for a good few months, and whether that was the reason I'm not in this squad, I don't know. You'll never know. But when you see. Especially when I'm back in the country, when I'm hearing on the radio the lads doing interviews and the update to the team, it just sort of hits you deep inside your stomach, where you're thinking, I'd love to be there, and still have this sort of the passion to want to be involved, and so hopefully that passion keeps going for a long time, and God knows what will happen.
Yeah, you'd spoken about a bit earlier on, just as we wrap up, the idea sort of when you were young about wanting to stay in the fight was an expression that jumped out at me there, and it seems as if from chatting to you that, you seem in good nick, you're obviously back from the injury, you're 32, very settled at Reading, that door certainly isn't closed, and that maybe in some respects, under the right manager, that some of your best football's still to come, maybe.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I'll see how I feel in pre-season this year. That'll be good.
The bones begin to take a little bit, is that a...
Well, no, they feel good. Like, it's just, you just never know, It's just, the 30s, people always say about the 30s, when you get in your 30s, you start feeling it a little bit more. I was feeling it when I was covering 11.5k as a centre-back under Yap, to be honest, but we'll see how pre-season goes, and just going to take it one step at a time, get pre-season out of the way, and just one day at a time and one game at a time, and see where it takes me. Yeah,
I presume the downtime is a little more quiet for you now. You're not doing the 2 sessions a day every weekday for the summer.
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, that was really stupid. Yeah, ridiculous. You wouldn't believe the stuff I was doing.
We've had a bunch of comments, needless to say, about you, Paul. One from Wayne Ryan here on Facebook. Good morning to you, Wayne. Ask Paul when he retires, will he fancy playing the GAA again? Newtown on Kennedy to Wicklow in a future Leinster Championship match. No bother to him.
Yeah, I always thought that when I was younger to end up playing Gaelic, but geez, no, not in Wicklow. Jeez, you get killed. You get killed up there. Yeah, that's what they say, don't they? You know that saying in Wicklow? No.
No, what's that?
You either get a boot in the bollocks or a bollocks in the boot.
We've another one here from George Seeley, I think. Is Paul still happy at Reading, or is he coming home to play GAA? I think you probably answered that one with the hashtag there, OTBAM. You sponsored Newtown on Kennedy, didn't you, a couple of years ago? You did a Jake Bug on it.
Yeah.
Name of the shirt.
Yeah, well, the thing was, it was like, I sponsored them for the last few years, and I was going to put my dad's name on the shirt,
right.
Have Sean McShane, and then I spoke to my mum, and it was a bit raw at the time, that my dad just passed, and she didn't want my dad's name to be on there, so it was sort of like, we didn't really speak about it, and then it was like, what are we going to do? And then it was like, I think my brother just said, just put your name on it. So I put my name on it. And then when I seen it, it was just Paul McShane straight across. I was thinking, oh no. I was thinking, how do we change this? But yeah, it is. Yeah. So it was just a quick decision that was made. And it was good. It was good to sponsor them and get behind the team.
Like you said there at the start, your father wanted you to go down the Gaelic Games path. Like, was Joy's the simple reason why you're not playing Gaelic Games, where you didn't want to play for Wicklow at a senior level, or was it kind of a sense of, I would have got spotted anyway eventually?
No, I like growing up in Wicklow, where I was from, I think it was a good thing to play for Joey's. It was like, if you played for Joey's, you were decent at football, you had a reputation, you were good at football, and that was sort of my dream, was to play for Joey's, just to have people around the area, you know, say, oh yeah, he's decent at football. But then when I went to Joey's, it sort of just you know, just took off. Because I went as a centre midfielder actually from Newtown to Joey's, but I went to Joey's and it wasn't the same league, Dublin League and the Wicklow League. You know, in Wicklow you could get away with running around like a headless chicken, and that's what I was doing. So the manager at the time, Liam Brown, for St. Joseph's, he said, listen, we have to put a rope on you. So I went back and played centre back, and I played really well, and I hated it. I hated centre back.
Really?
Because I wanted to be in all the action. And I was like going to my mum and dad, I was like, I'm going back to Newtown. I hate centre back. And then when I was playing, I was getting a bit of recognition, so I was thinking, oh well, I might as well stay centre back. And so that's how I ended up centre back. Jesus. I remember one of my first games actually, talking about concussion in the game and stuff, and things you've sort of come across when you were younger. We played a game under 12s against, I think it was the under 14 B team, and their goalkeeper was booting the ball now 100 feet up in the air every time he had it, and I was heading every single one of them. And it was those Meyler multiplexes, you know.
Oh yeah, there'd be a bit of weight in that.
Yeah, and towards the last 5 minutes I headed one and I went cross-eyed. I went cross-eyed and I couldn't get my eyes back, and I was running around in a panic. I headed that many balls, I actually went cross-eyed. So talk about concussion. God knows what will happen to me when I'm older.
Bloody hell. Wow.
So yeah, that was the start of my centre back days.
Do you feel it on a serious note? Do you feel that sort of, because it's a pretty hot topic at the minute, like there's Lee Keegan, the Mayo footballer, in the back of one of the papers today saying that another concussion he's kind of feeling might end his career. From a centre back's point of view, it's something you're heading quite a bit, obviously. Yes, especially being the height I am, I sometimes catch people's heads and stuff, and it is like it has it's a bit of a worry, all right. Is it?
You know, well, you see, like, you know, Kevin Doyle. I was speaking to Kevin Doyle, and he was saying that every time he headed the ball, he was basically getting a concussion, and it's probably because of the likes of me heading the back of his head. But it is like it's a worry, but it wouldn't stop me. Like, I sort of say to me missus, I say, here, listen, if I end up mad, just put me in a home. I'll be fine there. But I'm just it is like it's dangerous, and once it's not like a cruciate or a knee injury. It's your brain, so it's like it's really serious stuff. But I think as more research has happened, it's scary. So I'll see how I go. And I could end up in that home soon.
Do you think about it when you're playing?
No.
Once you cross the white line,
it wouldn't cross my mind. So I'd still be sort of hell for leather.
A few other comments here just before we wrap. Paul O'Gorman wonders, are these Seamus comparisons fair or just a lazy nod to gingerism? Seamus. I got that one year when I went on holidays. I was with the miss. I went to Barbados, and a few of them were calling me Seamus. And then who was the new one there? Well, then I was getting called something else there. I was way in America. I was way in Mexico there, and I was getting the McGregor ones. I think it was just because of the beard. Right. Yeah.
I think it's just actually, it's funny. I think Alex Pearce was actually in Barbados the year that I was there, and I turned up in the morning, and he was there for a few days before. But all the locals were talking to me as if I was thinking, what are they talking about? But they were mistaking me and Alex Pearce, so I think it's just the colouring thing that they just get mixed up in and put us all in the same category. Funny
you should mention Alex Pearce, because that's the one I wanted to wrap on here that I'm sure you're going to comment on. From Adrian O'Driscoll on Facebook. Good morning to Adrian. Surely Paul is a better option than Alex Pearce.
Jeez. Well, Alex has been in the squads now since Martin first took over, and he's been there, I think, in every squad ever since. So yeah. It's he's a good lad, Alex. Like I know him, and he's so we'll see what happens.
Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure spending some time in your company this morning. Thanks a million for coming into us. Best of luck with the golf day on Sunday.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers,
there.
Paul. Thank you very much. That's Paul McShane. That's where we leave that segment for the morning. Still plenty to come. Owen's going to be talking to Eamon Fitzmaurice and lots of other good stuff. But before all of that, we're going to do a little clip here with David Meyler, who was speaking at the Irish press conference yesterday. Here he is on his leaving Hull City.
I think I spoke to the papers just before I came in. I was asked a similar question, and I said, for me, the next it's about ambition. People are motivated by different things. Some people are motivated by money, which is fine. That's fine. I'm not. I want to achieve something. Obviously, it's nice to earn a few quid or whatever, but I want to achieve something. I want to look back on my career and be successful. I want to. I've been lucky enough to play for Ireland. I've had promotions from the Championship. I played in the FA Cup final. Yeah, we lost, but I'm starting to come round. 4 years on, that was huge for a club the size of Hull. So I think wherever I decide to go, I think it's about ambition. I want to win. I want to win something. I want to look back when I'm older and say I achieved this, I achieved that. Even for Matt there, Matt will look back on winning the Championship for the rest of his his life. It'll always be a great time in his career because they were so successful. They had a great team, great bunch of players. That's what you remember. You want to be ambitious. I want to go to a club that wants to win.
All right, that is David Meyler from the pre-USA press conference this week. Don't forget that we have 3 sets of tickets, premium tickets, by the way, for the Republic of Ireland versus USA, which is at 8:08 tomorrow evening, and so there for the best comment, we're going to do that draw before the show is done. A reminder as well that the 30th anniversary of Euro 88 is fast approaching, and we've got a very special OTB roadshow to bring your way, featuring the Stars of Stuttgart. Thursday the 7th of June, that's next Thursday. We're going to be live from Vicar Street in association with Boyle Sports. Hosts on the night are going to be Kevin Caban and Nathan Murphy, and we're going to be lining them out alongside Ronnie Whelan, Kevin Moran, and of course the man who put the ball in the England net, that is Ray Houghton. John Giles is going to be there to share his own Stuttgart memories. He'll preview the 2018 World Cup, and we'll have a Celtic Legends special on. We're going to have John Hartson, Alan Thompson and Jackie McNamara all going to be there. So it's a Celtic and Ireland extravaganza. Offtheball.com/events is the place to get your hands on some of those hot tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. In the last week, Eamon Fitzmaurice has been doing media. Kerry play Clare this Sunday. He thankfully gave me a few minutes on the phone on the day of his press last weekend, and I chatted to him for about 10-15 minutes. You can catch the full interview on the radio tomorrow on News Talk. But here's a clip of it, about 3 minutes or so, when I was chatting to him, I think, about last year's events, about Mayo, about the criticism that the Kerry team received. Have a look at this.
It is. Look, I mean, the thing about, I think there was a lot made about this 3-year plan earlier on in the year. I think that's more from the county board side of things, from the structural point of view and what's going on in the background to bring the talent through from the underage ranks into the senior squads, that they're developed mentally, physically, football-wise, from the point of view of getting ready for that real, top-level competition. So I think that's more of a background thing. I think from the point of view of a team in a given year, you're trying to do the best you can and, reach your potential. And that's what we're trying to do this year, that if we can reach our potential, I think it'll take a very good team to beat us. But reaching that potential, of course, is challenging, and that's something that we'll be working on for the summer. But I think the patience thing is, it's for everyone, but most especially it's probably for the players themselves and the younger players, that it is a big step up and it does take time, and that having that patience and belief is certainly an important part of making that step up.
In terms of the things you need to work on there that you mentioned, one of the things that people will talk about when it comes to that replay last year was the sweeper system that was implemented, which was a necessary move given the damage that Andy Moran was doing in the first game. And it seemed to me that the sweeper system perhaps hadn't been implemented by a team as experienced in using the system come the replay. Is that too harsh to say, or is that the case that was almost kind of a 1 week stopgap because you needed to find something to stop Andy Moran, and that potentially over the winter now you're going to come back this summer, and if you need that sort of more defensive setup, you're going to be better placed to execute it?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. I think there was a lot of comments about it afterwards, but I think one of our best performances last year was in the league final against Dublin, and that was the exact system that we played that day. And I think that was missed afterwards. And during the National League, in certain games last year, we had used it. In the championship, we hadn't had to because of the opposition we came up against. Oftentimes, were dropping a man themselves. So, it was something that we were comfortable in playing. It was something that we had practiced. I think it is something, that we can use if we need to. I think one of the big strengths that we have is that we are quite flexible and we can move from week to week. And we've always done that for replays where we've tried different things. And undoubtedly, it didn't work against Mayo last year. And when something doesn't work, then it's easy to fixate on that. But as I said, it worked. It was quite effective in the National League final. So it wasn't like it was just something we pulled out of the air and we'd never used before. But absolutely, the day the replay didn't work, and you just have to put your hand up when you try something and it doesn't work, and you just move on from it and learn, and that's what we all did.
Yeah, that's Eoin in conversation with Eamon Fitzmaurice. The full piece is available on offtheball.com and probably other Off the Ball social channels as well. Eoin, I'm absolutely certain. It's been quite a week for you. You've been in a bit of a daze all week. Do you mind if I tell viewers that you've been not quite... you've been in absentia mentally, I would say, for most of the week.
That's highly offensive, but go on. What's your rationale for this?
Eamon Fitzmaurice.
Yeah.
Micheál Murhertig.
Yeah.
Colm Cooper.
Yeah.
James O'Donoghue.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other Kerry legends in the studio. But I mean, that's probably the living Mount Rushmore right there. Is it?
There's only one common theme between those four people, and they're all just good people to chat to. There's no other common theme.
There's certainly no other common theme.
No.
Are they on the Kerry? Are they your living Kerry Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's put them all up there.
Who is your of all time Kerry Mount Rushmore?
Are we talking are we including John B. Keane here, or is it just sports people?
I don't know, whatever you want. Yeah, John B. Keane.
Tom Crean.
Tom Crean, right?
Would probably be two. If we have to only credit two Gaelic footballers, then I'm not going to put myself.
You've got your four. You're going to go up there on the mountain yourself and carve out the names on the McGillicuddy Reeks. What are the mountains in Kerry?
Yeah, the McGillicuddy Reeks.
There we go. Yeah. Abseiling off the side of the McGillicuddies.
Two sporting people. If you did a non-GAA one, I'd have a much easier time. It would probably have to be Gooch and Morris Fitz, but it's got to be Mick O'Connell. Has to be up there.
I can't believe the slight on Mick O'Connell. The people of Valencia are going to be up in arms. Be up in oars as we speak.
Yeah, they'll be rowing across the mainland with their pitchforks.
With their rage. They'll be making their way to Dublin. They'll be making their way to Fireys.
This is not the conversation I wanted to have. That's kind of off the top of my head.
It doesn't matter what you wanted to have. I'm just saying you've been in a bit of a day this week. A lot of Kerry legends in studio, and you've been in absentia. But good to get that insight into your.
Yeah, it is.
Rushmore.
We'll hear some more GAA now. It's not anymore Kerry people, I promise. It is Mayo and it's Dublin, because yesterday Super Value announced their sponsorship of the 2018 Football Championship with a host of stars at Croke Park. Mór Trasa was there for Off the Ball. She was speaking to Lee Keegan, she was speaking to Cian O'Sullivan. And first of all, we'll hear from both of them back to back here, speaking about their preparation for big games.
There's all those tools available to you, and I guess always have to be mindful that Gaelic football and hurling, Gaelic sports, it's a very chaotic game. It's a very random game. There's only so much planning you can do, and sometimes there's a danger of actually over-analysing things.
A bit horizontal when it comes to the video analysis, so I go more on instinct. Of course, listen, video analysis is a key part. I suppose from a group point of view, we do a lot of analysis, and I suppose this is probably our biggest challenge, trying to get the analysis on the likes of the Limericks and teams like this, because again, I mentioned it's very unknown for us, so to get that kind of detail and information, we have to do a lot of homework on that, and we don't have a lot of time to do it, but technology is definitely a huge part of what we're doing. Some guys are obsessed with looking the part and having the technology in front of them, but I'm more just, can I have a football and go out and play in the pitch. So
is that why maybe you threw away the GPS there at the end of last year?
I've no comment on that.
Good stuff there from Keegan and O'Sullivan. We'll hear a little bit more from them now in a moment. Here is Keegan and O'Sullivan speaking about their leadership roles within their squads now.
When you're a younger player, and I remember there was one or two games when I was first starting out that you get just so obsessed about preparing to the nth degree for the game and focusing on the opposition that you almost forget about your own game, and that nervous energy that conjures up around doing all that stuff, that can take away from your energy going into a game as well, and you can feel a little bit flat going into the game. So unfortunately, it's one of those ones, like, you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to tick all the boxes and prepare to the best of your ability.
I suppose I'm looking at maybe on the senior players now, which is not a good complaint at this stage, but any bit of advice to some of the guys, maybe from a defensive point of view, set up, executing different kind of skills and bits like that, and obviously liaison with the management and coaches. And I suppose for myself, trying, it's a different environment for me, being injured, and trying to balance helping guys out, and then obviously try and keep myself in reasonable shape to come back.
Yeah, good stuff there from Lee Keegan and Cian O'Sullivan, chatting to More Trass and Calig at Croke Park yesterday, because Super Valley were announcing their sponsorship of the 2018 Football Championship. Quick question for you, Adrian. Who's your 4 Mount Rushmore in the Westmeath Mount Rushmore?
Seeing as you haven't included him, I mean, incredibly, it's a slight on the man, but I will happily take ownership of Paddy O'Shea. I'm not sure there's a mountain high enough. I think the highest mountain in Westmeath is probably about the height of this desk. It's a pretty flat area, but I'm going to put him in there.
So one Kerry man on the Westmeath Mount Rushmore.
I can do what I want with it. It's my Mount Rushmore, and he's an honorary Westmeath man as far as I'm concerned. John Aldridge, of course, has to be on the Westmeath Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay.
Joe Dolan is going to, he's got to be in there. And after that, it's a kind of a toss-up between like Niall Horan, Brezzy, Spike Fagan, Rory O'Connell, Desi, that sort of thing.
Robbie Henshaw?
Robbie Henshaw. How did I miss Robbie Henshaw?
Well, because you were bad at putting together Mount Rushmores. You picked the Kerry man.
I think that's... but it's the whole essence of it is my Mount Rushmore.
It is also a Westmeath Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, but he is like one of the greatest Westmeath men of all time.
But he's not a Westmeath man.
Well, let's not worry about the small detail.
It's a fairly major detail on a Westmeath Mount Rushmore.
Well, like the fact that he was behind the greatest moment in Westmeath GAA football history, I'm happy enough to put him up there. So
Manchester City fans would have Pep Guardiola on their Manchester Mount Rushmore.
If they want to have, they can do what they want.
I think that's...
But they can do it's the whole essence of... Look, you haven't put Mick O'Dwyer, as Isolde Cody points out on Twitter, you haven't put Mick O'Dwyer in your Mount Rushmore,
Yeah, I know.
So...
but there's a bit of a higher...
You had about 5 O'Sheas to select from. None of them got included.
Well, I did give the caveat that my 2 footballers would be...
Maurice Fitz does not feature.
Maurice Fitz was literally the first footballer that I named.
Right, he's in, right.
But all that being said, I didn't have time to... Like, if I had to pick 2, if I had to pick a Mount Rushmore of 4 Kerry footballers, it would have been a tough one.
No, it wasn't. It was just whatever you want to put on.
You can't leave John B and Crean out. Anyway...
you do what you want. It's
anyway, the more criticism that comes in for Adrian Barry selecting Paddy O'Shea and his Westmeath Mount Rushmore, the better over the next few minutes. We're going to move on a small bit because we're going to talk about FIFA, the video game. We've covered FIFA on a political level quite a bit, but FIFA, the video game, is what I want to talk about now because it is the greatest video game of all time. It is. I've never.
Incredible work of journalism from Eoin in Manchester this week.
Yeah, we were in Manchester. Myself and Niall McGrath went out there.
Asking all the hard questions. Really tough work. We had to endure playing FIFA 18 for an evening with thanks to Coca-Cola, plenty of cans of Coke. I followed your Instagram story, and the one thing I couldn't quite figure out about your path to the final was how you managed to not win a single game and still end up in the final.
Well, that's not true. We did win multiple games.
I know, but you lost far more than you won.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Should we spoil what's going to happen here, or should we just play the video? I think we should just play the video, and I can maybe explain the intricacies of the rivalries here. So this is a video shot by Niall McGrath in Manchester on Wednesday night. Have a look at this, but thanks to Coca-Cola. All right, you're welcome to the National Football Museum. We're here with thanks to Coca-Cola, and we're taking part in the FIFA World Cup, and that is the FIFA 2018 World Cup, not the actual FIFA World Cup, although we're probably athletic enough to actually take part in that. So we're going to be going up against other gamers over the next couple of hours here. There's a group stage, a semi-final, then a final. Of course, we're going to be involved in all of those things because we're amazing at FIFA. So here we go. You can watch the group stages unfold as we destroy everything in our wake. So we've just won game 1 here. We were Brazil and we won 2-0. We're now playing Ben and Josh next, and I would love it if we beat them. Love it. event of my entire life. If we lose this, I may as well give up. It's all over. It's finished. It's also the most important sporting event that Ireland has ever been involved with. If we lose this, I'm sorry to everybody. But we're not going to lose. It doesn't matter because we're going to win quite easily. We won the first one 2-0. Did you see that? It was so easy. It just coasted past them. They didn't know what was going on. They were like, who are these kids who got all these Irish tactics on FIFA? Well, you're going to see the Irish tactics here, except it's Germany. And we're playing against Brazil, we won with last time. But other than that, we're definitely going to win this. It's what it all comes down to when you're a little kid playing FIFA 04. You're not quite sure if a draw away to Spurs in season mode is a good result or not. This is what it all comes down to. If you told me that when I got my PlayStation 1 and I was playing FIFA 98 that I would be sitting here with 16 other people playing FIFA 18 and potentially winning the Battle of Ireland versus the United Kingdom, then I would have bitten your hand off there and then. And here we are, we're representing our country. We hope to do you proud, and if we don't, we will never come home again. I forgot there's an Aussie there in the other team. Point again to the night, I think our players let us down, the referee let us down, the opposition were very poxy, but we're not making an excuse. The fog as well, actually the weather conditions were terrible. We felt that we weren't given any chance really, and we were completely screwed over, but no excuses, and we are gracious losers and we win the prize for most gracious losers. It's been an emotional adventure. You can see behind me the emotion there, but that's jubilant emotion which we're not going to be a part of. We've been duly left out once again, we've been duped, become second, not good enough for me.
We got Ben Holden, we got Ben Holden.
Yeah, sad scenes there as we got defeated in the final of the FIFA tournament, but thanks to Coca-Cola over in Manchester last Wednesday. So what happened was there was a number of different organisations there. We got to the final, as I've said, but we got there in a fairly strange path. We did lose a number of games. It was kind of like two groups, and it was kind of an elimination process. You played everybody, and then the bottom team got eliminated from the competition. Right. Then you do the groups again, and then the bottom team. And we just managed to come second last in both of those two groups to proceed to what were, in essence, the semi-finals. We ended up getting to the last four, and the team we played in the semi-finals was a team that represented a particular media publication in the UK. Let's just call it. Let's just say who it was. It was Unilad, who I'm sure a lot of people will be quite familiar with who these people are. They had beaten us 6-1 in the group stages. These guys were actual FIFA gamers. I haven't played FIFA in about 8 years.
Other gamers, as you described in your intro.
You know, a high bar, a very, very high bar of gamership in this thing. And these guys were proper. They played online. They've got thousands of minutes. They were talking about this thing called Ultimate Team and having a gold Ronaldo card and stuff like that. I have no clue what they were on about, but there was all this FIFA talk, and I felt alienated as they were trashing us 6-1. And in the other semi-final was another Unilad team who had got through to the final. So there was this talk of this all Unilad final once they got past us again. And we set up in such a defensive way, pissed them off to the nth degree, and we managed to scrape a 1-0 win. And they didn't take it very well, to the point where Unilad had a big celebration after they beat us in the final, kind of rubbed it in our faces quite a bit. Wow. The two guys we beat in the semi-final didn't really talk to us anymore. Wow. And there was a lot of sourness, but you know, I felt we represented our country fairly well.
The biggest concern I have is that our resident millennial was A, not understanding the lingo, B, absolutely not a gamer, and C, in a sea of a bunch of millennials wearing t-shirts that said eat football, sleep football, was wearing a middle-aged man's shirt.
Well, thank you very much. That's a compliment to my sense of style.
Certainly not meant as one, but look, you know, whatever.
I hate millennials, basically, is what my style suggests.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hate them even more as a result of that.
Even if you'd worn that ridiculous shirt, you would have looked a bit more millennial than.
Well, thank you very much.
With that,
I'll try and
that effort you had on the other day.
I felt like Steve Buscemi when he's like, how do you do, fellow kids? That's how I kind of felt at that moment.
Right. So we're going to. What are we looking at, Tommy?
I think we're going to touch on last night's basketball.
Yeah, I was talking to Farmer Jones during the week on Tuesday night about the finals, and he was saying that the Cavaliers essentially had absolutely no hope whatsoever. I think this was coming from the sort of source of being a Cavaliers fan from by all accounts, but so maybe it was a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it was giving them no hope whatsoever, and they nearly got it done last night.
Oh my
Game
God.
1.
Like, last night was one of the most stupid things you will ever see in any sporting arena, what occurred in the last couple of seconds of Cleveland Cavaliers against Golden State Warriors. Game 1 in the Oracle Arena. This is the Golden State home game. You would have got really good odds on Cavaliers even picking up any of these first two games, because as you know, the first two go with the higher seed in their home arena. So Golden State were at home, and it was a tie game with 4 seconds left, and they get 2 free throws. Cleveland Cavaliers do. It's not a tie game, they're 1 point down. They make the first free throw to level it up with 4 seconds left. They miss the second free throw.
Who takes it? Who takes the free throws?
I'm pretty sure it's George Hill.
Right.
At this point, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was George Hill.
I won't be correcting you, but I'm sure
I was kind of saying that to the viewers.
Yeah.
So he misses the second one, and once the ball's in the air, you're like, right, okay, that's kind of game over, we're going to overtime. But J.R. Schmidt for the Cleveland Cavaliers catches the offensive rebound, is under the rim, 4 seconds left, and what does he do? No, he doesn't lay the ball up. He doesn't go for the dunk. He doesn't finish off this game, which would have sparked an unbelievable series if they'd got one game on the road. He turns the other way and dribbles the ball outside the paint, and it's game over. And you can see him mouthing to Lebron. He's like, I thought we were in the lead. In the post-match, J.R. Smith is like, I thought, I knew where we were. I was trying to draw a foul, or I thought they might call a timeout. What the hell are you doing? There's 4 seconds left. You put that ball in the basket. In overtime, Golden State ended up winning by 10 points. They're 1-0 up. It's exactly how we expected it to go. The manner of which was absolutely incredible. LeBron James was not happy. His reaction to J.R. Smith on the court has already become an instant meme online. Wait till you see this once you go onto Twitter. It is everywhere. Any little situation you can think of, LeBron being really, really angry with J.R. Smith has become a meme, and any situation you can think of has been applied to it. LeBron James was also very, very unhappy in his post-game press conference. Have a look at this.
What do you mean, what's my version?
Well, did he think that the game was tied, or did he think that you guys had it salted away?
How do I know that?
Or did you discuss it at all with him at the end of the play?
No. They asked me if I talked to JR about it. I said no already. I knew it was a tie game. We was down 1. George Hill went up. He made the first one. We got the offensive rebound. I thought we were all aware of what was going on. That's my view, so... I don't know what JR was thinking. I don't know the question you're trying to ask.
I was just trying to see if you knew exactly what his state of mind was. Did he think that you guys had it won, or did he think he was trying to make a play?
No.
Not sure.
What do you mean I'm not sure? No, I don't know his state of mind.
Did you know if he knew the score?
Thank you. My favourite part of that is LeBron fixing his suit shorts after actually standing up there.
His shorts on.
The fact that he's wearing suit shorts.
I mean, in some respects, we can see the still there of...
That's your meme right there. Apply any caption you want to that, basically.
In some ways, I admire the journalist for going back a 17th time to say what the F was your man thinking. But on the other hand, you'd asked him already. He clearly was not going to give you anything. No, I mean, look.
I think he was asked in the locker room as well before that. I think he'd been asked quite a bit. So it was obviously the right question. Was the line of questioning right? I'm not sure. And I don't know. I think he'd just been pushed to the limit there a little bit. To be fair, it's rare that he does that. He kind of fronts up after every single game. I know they've got a bit better regulations when it comes to players stepping up, but he is always a player who steps up for the team. So, yeah, it's devastating. I think from a neutral perspective, although I'm not really neutral in this, I obviously want Cavs to beat Warriors because I hate Warriors. But I think from a neutral perspective, it would have been so good had they actually got that first game win last night. Game 2 is on Sunday night, and I think a lot of people think it's going to be Warriors in 5. I wouldn't put it past them now at this point. I think it's going to be a 5-game series, and Warriors are going to win the championship once again.
Very good. All right. Congratulations to Andy Leach, Paul O'Gorman and Mark Colgan. Each of you are getting a set of these little beauties here. They're premium tickets for the Republic of Ireland against the USA tomorrow at the Aviva Stadium. It's 8 minutes past 8 kickoff. So be there at around about 8 o'clock. There's a lot of discussion about the 8 minutes past 8 kickoff. We might be better sort of in Ireland having more games that start at 8 minutes past when you kind of generally expect them to start. Because we're a nation of turn up laters.
Yeah, well, advertising it as such means people would show up at, 10 past 8. So say they start at 8 o'clock.
I think it's vague enough that nobody, you don't say it with your mates, oh yeah, we'll meet you down there at 8 minutes past 8.
Okay, so at 7:50, you're in Slattery's.
It's right, let's get out of here. The game is about to start. I think it's 8 o'clock sometime.
You've just finished, and you're like, it's 18 minutes till kick off. I have time for one more.
Not 8. How fast are you drinking?
You could probably get one in 15 minutes, 3 minutes to get into your seat.
Have a discussion about that.
15 minutes past the hour.
There's a discussion to be had there. That's too quick.
Well, you'll drink a pint in 15 minutes if you're rushing to get to a game.
Need I ask what you're doing for the weekend? I mean, you're definitely, the only thing you're doing that I'm certain of is that you're going to Kerry, the Kerry game.
You're not
that's the only thing I'm absolutely certain of.
You're not going to do this on
No matter what else is going on, I know that you will clear the deck zone
We're not going to do this on air, Adrian, please. I'm not. I haven't missed a Kerry game in a long time.
No, but I mean,
actually,
you're going,
except for their last championship game,
that stretch will continue. The James Ryan sort of winning stretch continues post this weekend. The Eoin going to Kerry games. I'm assuming you'll have a full report on it into Sunday's show.
No, Mike Quirk will be doing reports on Sunday along with all the other GAA.
Normally we send
weekend.
somebody who knows about the GAA and then you go with them.
No, Mike Quirk on his own. Are you saying that Mike Quirk needs help on Sunday? Of course not.
No, I'm just saying that you normally go with the person who we're sending as an actual voice on the.
Oh yeah, is that what happens? Yeah, cool.
What? So you're not going? Is that what you're saying? Well, you're missing it for some really important family function, obviously, or something.
Yeah, let's say that. I'm working tomorrow and stuff like that, and just
stuff like what?
No, I have tickets to gigs and stuff Sunday, Monday. It was kind of a matter of going down for the day trip on Sunday and then coming back up Sunday.
So it's a big family outing. So a really important thing.
Family outing, Adrian.
What are you doing? You're going to Forbidden Fruit.
I am. Yeah, I'm going to Forbidden Fruit Festival. Yeah, are you?
Oof, this is incredible.
It was.
I don't know the Eoin Shane fan base are going to be necessarily.
It was logistical reasons, Adrian.
The Eoin Shane fans forum is going to be maxed out with commentary.
I feel guilty enough. I've already been reminded about this particular decision. If you could have set up like a ticket swap shop and got rid of my tickets for me, then.
Listen, there's no point in trying to sort of pretend that you wanted to back out of it at any stage. Like if you've made your decision that you're going to Forbidden Fruit, rather than go to the Kerry match, stick by it.
What are you doing for the weekend? Going to Bloom?
I'm not going to be at Bloom, no. But I mean, I appreciate your dig. It's a good dig. No, I'm going to be doing other adult stuff. That's
other adult stuff. Oh, yeah. Jesus! Wow. Okay, I'm definitely not going to ask a follow-up question.
Which is not going to be Forbidden Fruit. I'm going to be playing golf at the Sean McShane Memorial Golf Day on Sunday.
Well, that's as good a reason as any to get outdoors.
There you go. Right, check out youtube.com/offtheball for all of the good stuff, not the last few minutes, but all the good stuff that we've produced over the course of the week from OTB AM. So we had the Mountain in during the week. Micheál Murrah-Hertig was in. It was a bit of a Kerry love-in over the course of the week. Owen's report from Kevin's GAA as well, who were trying to save their green space. That's up there and it's good. Check it out. Cian Lynch was in studio as well, and the James Donoghue and Gooch special as well. I mean, that was peak Owen Shane.
This has been the best week of my entire life.
I was watching that video at one point, and there was you sitting beside the Gooch, and somebody needs to go in and Photoshop a love heart into it. Your face was just, you were in awe of the man. I mean, I'm not judging you for that. I'm just saying that's what happened.
Right. Okay. Well, why don't you go in and make the love heart yourself? You're more obsessed with my view of fellow Kerry people than I am obsessed with fellow Kerry people.
On that note, we'll try and unpick that for the next hour and make some sense of it. Owen, a pleasure as always.
Absolute pleasure.
The Friday lads are out. See you next week.